What is up, everybody? So a couple years ago, I bought one of these adapters that's MD to EOS R. It's basically just a tube. There's no glass, there's nothing in it. It just puts a vintage Minolta Rokkor lens the right flange distance from the sensor on a modern Canon camera. I've mostly been using it this winter on my R5. One of the reasons I just wanted to experiment a little bit more, I have a couple Minolta lenses. I have a bunch of Minolta lenses, but there's a few that I really love. It's kind of cool to be able to shoot them with digital. For a number of reasons, I just haven't really been shooting film lately and I really miss the look. My favorite lens is this 55mm f1.7. It's not even the nicest, technically, Minolta Rokkor lens I own, but it has my favorite characteristics. And that kind of brings me to the point of why I shoot vintage lenses on modern cameras, because my modern Canon lenses are awesome. Whether they're my R lenses or like I'm even shooting on a EF lens that's adapted to my R. So why would you mess with it when modern coatings are so good, the optical formulas are so good, they're sharp, you don't get all kinds of flare and chromatic aberrations and stuff like that? Well, the reason I say, I think pretty much the only reason is character. When I'm doing my commercial work, I'm really not looking for character. You know, I'm shooting events, I'm shooting products, I'm looking for ultimate image quality. That's what I'm going for. That's what I do for a living. But when I'm out going for a hike, riding my bike, hanging out with my girlfriend and friends, it's kind of fun to have some more of that different, unique quality of the vintage lenses. That 55 1.7, and we'll look at some images in a minute here, just has this real 3D pop to it. It must be the shape of the aperture blades, the curve, or something like that. And I've always really liked it. And I just started using this lens, which I don't think I'd really used before. It's a 3.5 135 Minolta lens. I'd been using this 2.8 Pro Master, like a third-party Minolta lens, and switched to this one, and I noticed too that there was some like kind of nice characteristics about it. Getting a unique look that's a little different and playing with something new is the reason, something old is the reason I've been doing it. When I really got back into photography and digital photography, it was just a hobby, and the simple fact of the matter was I couldn't afford the Canon lenses that I wanted for my cameras. That's actually why I got into film again. I don't say this to be cool, it's just a fact that I got into it a little before everything got really trendy, so I was just scooping up cameras and lenses for almost nothing from thrift stores and estate sales before the prices all kind of went up on certain things. And so I love shooting film because it gave me the flexibility to try different lenses, different focal lengths, different apertures that I just couldn't afford to do with the digital lenses that I wanted. Why don't we go look at some of the images I've been taking this winter and talk about those. So on this day, Aaron and I had gone for a hike that I actually had not done before this area was turned into a park. Between it being a golf course and a park, we used to ride our bikes back here. Probably not legally, but whatever. So these first couple images were shot with the Minolta 135-35, and I did notice that these do have like a pretty cool bokeh as well. You could see it's a little bit swirly. I actually like the vignetting that's going on. It's one thing that's kind of funny to me with Photoshop, certain lenses, like modern lenses, how the profile will remove some of the vignetting. But when I'm shooting wide open, and I'm taking a portrait, that's kind of something I generally tend to like. So yeah, I thought this was kind of a cool image. Also, portraits are one of the things that I think make the most sense to do with these kind of lenses. Like here's a photo of this new shelter. It's kind of a cool photo, whatever. And I mean, there is, you know, still that unique background blur and foreground blur, but would this do better than my actual nice lenses? I don't know. You know, the colors are gonna be a little better on my modern lenses with the coatings and all that kind of stuff and less chromatic aberration and fringing. Same thing, this is just an image I like of the Cuyahoga River. There's nothing about the lens that makes that one stand out. Here you get a little more. This one I've switched to the 55-1.7. I do like taking these kind of close-up shots when it's snowing because then you get the little snow in there. Don't know if that stuff shows up on a YouTube video. This is a portrait with the 55-1.7, and this is just what I'm talking about. I just love the way things pop out with this lens. It just looks really cool. I was saying one thing it would have been, you know, Aaron's wearing all black. With these few hikes we did on these gray days, it would have been kind of cool. I should have had her wear something more colorful, you know, because that's really, I feel, what like makes things pop. But here again, same thing. I just really like these kind of full body portraits with this lens. Also the leading lines of the path. Little no bike sign is exactly where we used to ride our bikes. Funny thing, on this day, we're out walking. Me and Aaron, we don't hike that much because we always ride bikes. The person we usually ride bikes with on Sunday, we ended up running into on the exact same hiking trail, our buddy Ben, which is just a wild coincidence. But it started snowing like real hard at this point, so I do like this photo of him walking away in the snow. And then I shot, since it's manual focus, I I shot this blurry one on purpose, kind of to show the snow globe effect. I have another one that I'll show later. It really just kind of shows that, I don't know, that curved look of the background blur with these lenses. We went and got some lunch after, and I just loved all the lights in this bar. And again, there's just something about, I don't know, the characteristic of these lenses when they're not perfect and there might be a little bit soft that gives it a unique look. And I also noticed that it's like a halation effect when you shoot into bright spots, which is something you are maybe be avoiding in some situations in photography, but to me, it's almost making this look just as filmy as shooting film. So filmy. It's a shot of the Canon on the shelf behind me. I was actually just testing out the focus peaking. There's not really a lot of focus aids on my R5 when I put on a lens that it doesn't recognize, but it does have focus peaking, which helps a little bit. I still miss focus and take a bunch of extra shots to make sure I'm getting the focus. This was another day. It was kind of the same gray conditions and snowy, and got even snowier as we went out in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. I really like this shot. Some color on these gray days, real snowy days is kind of what you need. And again, you can just see that curved snow, and here's just one where I intentionally focused kind of between the background and foreground to get the snow to pop out like that. People were jogging down the trail and they had some colorful shirts on, and so I really like this photo. And again, I just think this kind of shows the 3D pop that I get from this lens. A couple photos just on the way out of the trail. It was getting pretty dark by then. This right here, nothing super characteristic about the lens. There's just something I love about my studio that it only happens this time of year, late January, February, and March. If there's a sunny day, the light comes through these back doors and it just like hits a perfect angle where it's just able to illuminate stuff. And it almost in certain situations could look like studio lighting. And every year I take a couple photos. This was just, I was just happened to be putting on my shoes and the light was there. Other times I'll actually set some stuff up. We don't get that many sunny days, so it's kind of this little rare opportunity. I went for a walk that day, and again, the light was just perfect. There's a little bit of softness to it, and I don't know, I like it a lot. This is just kind of, I took this kind of as a joke. We had snow on the ground for so long in January that I was saying, how can you tell you've had snow on the ground so long when they have to mark the utilities in the snow for utility work? So we finally got a sunny day where there was still snow on the ground, but it wasn't snowing. This was kind of a treacherous hike over at the gorge. This is Old Maid's Kitchen, really cool rock overhang in the gorge. There's a lot of cool rock stuff in the gorge, and unfortunately they had a lot of parts of the trail closed off, and I don't know if that was for winter or if there's been some rock slides or something. I'm not sure. I need to look it up. Portraits are what this lens is good for. Again, these kind of, I like these icy photos I took. Modern lenses would be even better for that. Here again, this site's just this background here. I knew it would be perfect for a portrait. Yeah, take that advice. This was again with the 135 as Aaron was walking away. There is some color fringing in the background. You can move a little bit of it in post. This lens has a cool background blur. I love shooting long like this. I love my 70-200 EF. I think that lens does have characteristics and really pretty bokeh and background blur and all that stuff, but the thing's massive and I'm not gonna carry it with me when I'm just kind of going out to have fun and hiking. I almost feel like the busier the background is, the more I like these Minolta lenses when you get that separation, because you see the swirl and stuff like that, and they're really like, they're taking a busy background and getting you that separation. There's just the ice on the gorge dam, and these are in the remnants of the waterfalls. I live in Cuyahoga Falls. This dam kind of covered up the Cuyahoga Falls. It was a dam that powered the streetcars back in the day. Yeah, I think these are cool photos. Again, there's nothing about the lenses I was using that make these better. I just really like the ice formations. You could just, this one to me really just does show that, I don't know, characteristic that I love about this lens when you look at the background. And then we also went and got some lunch on this day. And here's where I was saying how, you know, even though I'm shooting a super modern, super nice centered camera, this just kind of gives it that more analog look here with the like blooming highlights and all that stuff. Just another example where you got a backlit food photo, which is kind of the nice light for food, getting that cool blur. Went down to Columbus, visited a friend. He actually gave me a couple cameras that I think I'm gonna make some videos about. They'll be very on trend for Gen Z, but we'll hold off on that. But this is the same thing, just how the beer just like jumps off the table. And then I went and shot these at night. Had about a 50% hit rate on my focusing. Very dark in here. I'm shooting these at ISO 6400, f1.7, 1/25th of a second, usually about. Below that, I would get too much blur. But again, I knew that there was gonna be all these lights in the back of the stage, and so I kind of wanted to just use this lens for these shots. This is my buddies, Heron and Thorla. They were doing unique kind of mix of electronic and guitar. A lot of fun. I don't get out to see local music as much as I should, but yeah, with the background and all the lights, I just thought, this is all with the 55, by the way, that these look cool. And this is Flacco Taurus, hip hop artist, playing with my buddy Fedge in the background who's doing all the music, who mixed between doing electronic and guitar, which was kind of cool. But again, I just thought these shots, I could have used my modern Canon lenses. You won't miss focus. You could shoot as many frames as you want, but going out for fun, just figured, hey, let's go with the vintage lenses again and do something unique. What I really need to do is when I go to one of these, bring both, like bring my 51.8 or my 35.1.4 and then compare them. But yeah, I like it. I dig what I captured here. And then, yeah, this was a coffee ride. And well, I did mention cheap point and shoots are the cameras that I'm gonna mess around with a little bit, and we'll make a video about that too. I know they're like all the rage, as the kids say right now. This was shot with the cheap digital camera, so we'll leave it at that. So yeah, I don't know, it always seems like winter, late winter, I get into experimenting with more different cameras and different things. Last year I was messing around with my RZ67 and the Phase 1 back, which I'm looking to do a little bit more with. You know, this year messing with the vintage lenses on the Canons. My career, my business, whatever, tends to slow down a little bit in, you know, the holidays, January and February, before it picks up in the spring. So I feel that's just when I end up like experimenting and doing more unique things again. So that's what this video is all about. And I just find that once we start to get into the warmer weather in the summer, I'm always like getting my work done as, you know, quick as I can, and I'm shooting a lot with, you know, the modern stuff. And then I'm riding my bike a lot, and when I ride my bike, I actually will shoot photos from it, and that's where modern autofocus and 20 frames a second and all that kind of stuff are features that I love. So I'm not married to any style and any particular way of shooting. I'm not like film's the best. I'm not like digital's the best. I love messing with all of it. It's kind of the same way I feel about my bikes. I love riding different bikes, and I like trying out a vintage bike to see what it's like. And then I love the convenience of modern shifting on modern bikes as well. So that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks as always for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.